There's no tribe is as serious as Northerners when it comes to planning to remove Tinubu from office. No tribe is more serious than Northerners. Take a listen to this video.
First, we begin with the brewing political coalition, especially from the north, to unseat President Bola Tinubu and his governing All Progressives Congress, APC, in 2027. As Tinubu marks his second year in office, a block of northern political leaders under the aegis of the National Political Consultative Group have disclosed their intention to unveil a single presidential candidate to challenge President Tinubu and wrest power from him in 2027. The group also resolved to unveil a political platform and the candidate it hopes to use to dislodge Tinubu, even as it called on Nigerians to sanction state governors and other elected representatives who recently endorsed Tinubu for a second term without prior consultation with their constituents. Well, joining us now on the political alignment and realignment against Tinubu and his ruling All Progressives Congress in 2027 is a lawyer, public-private partnership specialist, and former minority leader of the House of Representatives, Honorable Mohammed Kumalia. He served between 1999 and 2007. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Samna.
All right, so you've been meeting and coalescing. I mean, just a week ago, you actually had this meeting in Abuja where top political leaders came together and you called it a political consultative forum. And so what's been the outcome of the consultations? We've seen that you've also issued a communique saying that governors who are defecting to the governing party or lawmakers are betraying the trust of the people and they need to be punished by voters in the next elections. What more have you been saying?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Samna. It's been a while that I was on this program. I think preparatory to the last general elections, that was when you invited me here. So thank you for having me. Well, the meeting you alluded to that I held last week is just one in a series of meetings that have been happening among key political actors, not only of the northern group, so to speak, but also leaders across the country, both from the north and the south, about the current happenings within the political space in the country. The whole idea is to, as you would know, that democracy is facing a very serious existential threat in this country, particularly in the last 2 years, where the voices of dissent are being suppressed. People that speak against the interests of government are hounded. They're jailed, taken to court, taken to prison, kept in prison custody without trial, and so on and so forth. So,
well, I mean, is it for other criminal or other offenses, but not directly because they attack the government? Is that what you're saying?
You see, the human mind, Samna, is very perceptive. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they will always find a reason to take someone to court. Someone has committed something maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you have not done anything. You just wake up simply because every day that person is on television, and the other media platforms, criticizing the government policies and programs. All of a sudden, you wake up and say he has done A, B, and C.
So the sins of yesterday are being revisited under the Tinubu administration.
Under the Tinubu administration, simply because
politically, because not for justice.
Not for justice.
Okay, I mean,
not in pursuit of justice. So these are the things that are happening. So that calls for the need for patriotic, citizens, politicians to come together, to start talking to themselves, to come together, to see how we can be able to find our way out of this, deep hole that we are all sinking into. What is happening right now within the political space, is not only a mere threat to democracy, but I think it is, to my mind, what is happening is worse than a military rule. And I'll tell you why. A military rule is a military rule. So the boundaries are clearly defined. It is not a rule of that was brought upon by the voices of the people. So it's a dictatorship clearly defined. In the first place, the constitution is abrogated. So that's a military rule. So you know your boundaries. But where, under the pretext of a democracy, you know, some kind of dictatorship, some kind of military kind of, you know, totalitarianism is being imposed on the people, is worse. Because on the face of it, you're supposed to have a constitution. You're supposed to have elections every 4 years. People have rights that are supposed to be protected, you know, by the law. I mean, when I talk about rights, I'm talking of constitutional rights. Freedom of association, freedom of speech, you know, freedom to life and what have you. They're clearly defined by the Constitution. But under this same democracy, all these are, you know, observed in defiance.
Well, maybe some people in the government will disagree, I mean, with you saying that there's always this opposition against a southern president. Anytime we have someone from the south, that the northern leaders just want a power grab at all means. And they may just say that some of the words you have used are very strong, I mean, very strong words. And it could be the reverse, just like some southerners were also using this kind of strong words against former military head of state, General Sani Abacha. It's a game you politicians like playing. I mean,
you know, I'm not your typical politician. You know, as you may have introduced me, you know, I'm a professional in politics. So I'm not your typical politician. I'm not interested in all this back and forth about this and that. But I'll tell you this, you know, there's nothing wrong with a southern politician. The present president couldn't have been president of Nigeria without the support of the North. You know, everybody knew what the northern governors came together, you know, and did for him to even get the candidature. He got more votes in northern Nigeria than in southern Nigeria. So what are you talking about? You know, so all these narratives, all these skewed, you know, jaundiced, you know, narratives that are being, you know, promoted simply to pitch the North against the South by a few elements within the political space. Nigerians are very intelligent people. They can see beyond this, you know, narratives that are being, you know, pushed out there just to, you know, the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter who is president. It doesn't matter where you come from as a citizen. What matters is the president delivering good governance to the people. Bottom line. That's what is important. Whether you're a southerner or northerner, you go to the same market.
Well, and a lot of people will kick against this sort of political gatherings by top northern leaders. Under Buhari, I mean, there was no situation so much like this, putting President Buhari then under heavy tension by southern political leaders. And he was given an opportunity to actually get a second term, quietly and all of that. Why shouldn't President Tinubu be given an opportunity to do similar thing? Though politically it's agreeable, but constitutionally, I mean, anybody can flip the elections as long as it's constitutional. But politically, you have been in this game for a long period of time. Doesn't the South deserve, 8 years under a southern president? Why is it that? I mean, because this statement keeps coming out very strong that anytime there's a southern president, there's this sort of gang up, and it's just shrouded in that scenario that the person from the South is not performing. And they give clear example of Goodluck Jonathan. The gang up against Goodluck Jonathan then was that he wasn't performing so much, Boko Haram and all of that. Only for the same note, many years after, to be saying that they seem to have made a mistake with President Goodluck Jonathan.
You sound as if you yourself are a victim of this skewed narrative.
Well, I mean,
you're mouthing this.
I'm not saying that these are the concerns. Thing, I mean, that they lay to us as journalists that this is a gang up. This is not normal opposition politics by northern leaders.
Listen, there's no gang up. You know, facts are facts. You know, nobody is saying, President Tinubu should not have a second term, but President Tinubu should deserve to have a second term. And nobody stops, like you rightly said, anybody from challenging President Tinubu. And nobody is saying, as at yet, who should succeed President Tinubu. It could be a northerner, and it could be a southerner. So it's neither here nor there. So this narrative that, oh, the North has come to push him out because the North is out of power, I don't see it anywhere. And let me tell you this. People are very forgetful. From 1999 to maybe the end of this Tinubu's first term, that's 2027, it will be 28 years of unbroken democracy. Now, I'm here talking about, this allegation that the North wants the power back and so on and so forth, because people keep saying that, why don't you allow Tinubu to spend his 8 years? Because Buhari has done 8 years. Why not Tinubu? But let me tell you this. By 2027, from 1999, we'll have spent 28 years of uninterrupted democratic governance in Nigeria. Out of the 28 years, hopefully, by 2027, when his president's first term would be ended,
would have elapsed.
Yeah. Would have elapsed. Out of the 28 years, the North had only spent 10 years in governance. Out of the 28. 8 years of Buhari and 2 years of President Yar'Adua. The remaining 18 years has been the South that is in office. So even if the North were to say we want equality or equity, as it were, given the facts, and these are facts, nobody's creating these numbers. Well, these are reality.
You know that in the conversation sometimes they also bring upwards the issues of military rule. The North had more power and all of that. And when you put all those together, the North seem to have enjoyed more power under the Nigerian state.
A military, a military person that has been there to come and tell you what military rule is all about. So what I'm saying, I'm not here to speak about that because I'm not part of them. I was never a military man.
Yeah, so nobody voted for them.
What we are saying is, under a democratic rule, where rights are given to citizens, where the principles of equity, equality, because that's the basis of all this discussion, between the different constituents, the different parts of the country, whether it's the different demographies, whether it is regions, zones, so what I'm saying, religious diversity and what have you. This discussion can only happen under a democratic governance. And I am telling you that under this democratic governance that we've had from 1999 to date, the North has only had, by 2027, we have only had 10 out of 28 years. 18 years is the South. So nobody should hoodwink anybody that, the North is trying to stop him. But that is not even the purpose of what is happening now. The country, the democracy itself, we are pretending to be practicing democracy. As it is today, what we have is not democracy.
Yeah, and I'm interested in knowing all the assessments, because in that meeting with these northern political leaders, all of you sat down, you assessed insecurity, the economy, the polity, and everything. What was your general assessment? Has President Tinubu failed, or has he performed well as he claims that he has done, especially in the economy?
As far as the meeting of last week was concerned, yes, it is a meeting of the northern group. However, some prominent southern politicians were invited. Peter Obi was there to give a goodwill message on behalf of the Southeast. Amechi was there. He gave a goodwill message on behalf of the South. And Governor Aregbesola sent in, a video. He wasn't present because he was doing his birthday at home, talking about it.
From the Southwest.
From the Southwest. So the assessment generally is that this government has performed, very abysmally, very poorly. And on all fronts, the economy and security are the worst. I heard you before we started the program talking about, the situation in Borno, for instance. I'm from Borno State. In the last 3 months or thereabout, the Boko Haram insurgency has started. There has been a resurgence. The governor, Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, came out and raised alarm and called attention of, the government, the federal government, that this is what is happening. Military men are being killed. Farmers are being slaughtered on their farms. And these are facts. But what did the government do? It was a pushback. The Minister of Information came out and said that what the governor was saying is not true. I mean, under that kind of situation, Sumner, how do you want, for instance, the governor of Borno, as the leader of over 6 million people, who has responsibility to take care of the security and welfare of over 600 million people, 6 million people,
yeah.
to feel?
Well, and we're actually surprised because that's the home state of the vice president, and Governor Zulu himself is a member of the Governor of Progressive Congress. So, I mean, does there seem to be a disconnect within the APC under the Tinubu administration, politically, structurally? Because, I mean, a lot of us were actually taken aback by that statement. And then, of course, the pushback by the government at the center.
Yes, all I can tell you is perspective of an outsider. But from an outsider's point of view, indeed, I see not a disconnect. I see a huge valley. It's not just a mere disconnect. A disconnect is something very close by that you can like push back and it can, reconnect. It's much more than that, what I see. Because you said it all. He's an APC governor. The governor is an APC governor. The vice president is from Borno. Vice president of the country, number 2 person. And the governor would come out and speak and say, this is the situation we are in. Instead of the government to step up and meet him at his point of need and provide what is required, they are saying, no, it's not happening. So I don't know how to explain that. Perhaps you need to invite
some
somebody
people are
from
saying
the APC.
that there may be some political implications for Vice President Kashim Shettima, for someone who is under his tutelage. I mean, Governor Zulum, to come out and say that maybe the Vice President Kashim Shettima is sort of not given the opportunity to be able to express himself in government at the center. I mean, could that affect his political fortunes ahead of 2027 too?
That's not my business. I'm not bothered about that. It's not what I'm concerned about as a citizen of Borno, as a Nigerian, is for the federal government to step up to its plate and ensure that the resurgence of Boko Haram in Borno is tackled. To step up to ensure that what is happening in Zamfara, what is happening in Katsina, what is happening in Kaduna, you know what I'm saying, is brought under control.
And some senators said that there's a political dimension to this. I mean, if you had read what Senator Sunday Karimi and some other senators said, that the federal government needs to investigate why all of a sudden, as we head towards 2027, the issue of insecurity is becoming frightening, that it looks like maybe there are some people fiddling with it to use it to get votes and all of that ahead of 2027.
I'm not in a position to either agree or disagree with any conjectures by anybody. What is important is we have a government supposedly elected by the people. Now, their work is clearly cut out. The Constitution has given them what to do. So let them go out there and do it. I don't care what the nuances or the accusations or the counter accusations, the insinuations, if you like, that this is happening because of that. Look, if it is happening, if there are some people, go after them, get them, and prosecute them. If there are some people that are fueling insecurity, don't give us stories. You see, in this country, the citizens are always being looked down upon by people in government. They feel as if the citizens are some dumb people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, forget my very strong use of words here. But these citizens, Nigerian citizens, are very intelligent people. They're very hardworking people. Today, give Nigerians a good leader, no matter where he's from. Whether he's from southeast, south, northeast, wherever, Nigerians will key in.
All right, and that's the problem. I mean, people are saying that this coalition that has been brought in place, it looks like there's no particular face to it. And that if Atiku is the person some of you are trying to front, then it looks like it may be game over. Because, I mean, top politicians are defecting to the APC and having a handshake with President Tinubu, and there's this bandwagon effect, as a professor said in his analysis, that Tinubu is using. And it's like, if you're not in the APC, it looks like you're nowhere. I mean, could there be someone else other than Atiku to challenge President Tinubu?
I'm not the one asking the questions. You are the one asking the questions, but forgive me. Tell me why you made that assessment. If it is Atiku that the game is over, tell me why before I respond to you.
Well, I mean, that's what people are saying in the governing party. They are saying that Atiku is beatable and that he doesn't stand a chance with the President Tinubu.
It's absolute balderdash. You know, it doesn't. What nonsense is that? You know, if they think Atiku is beatable, you know, fine.
Well, they say he was beaten before and he'll be beaten again. I mean, so
well,
it's better the coalition provides a much more stronger and neutral candidate than an Atiku. But if it's Atiku, they know his game plan, they know everything almost, and he's a friend of Tinubu, and so it's easier for them to actually defeat him.
Let them stay on their lane. Sure, they have chosen their own presidential candidate. Let them stay on their lane. Let them continue to promote their own. Leave us with the coalition people to come up with our own presidential candidate. If we come up with Atiku, all well and good. We'll fight for Atiku. As far as we are concerned, Atiku was never defeated. Atiku was not defeated in 2023. Atiku was not defeated in 2019. You know what I'm saying? Atiku was both elections as far as we are concerned.
Are you saying that the votes were rigged? Is that what you're saying?
Much more than that. If you say rigged, you are just, reducing the thing to, I don't know how to.
Well, I mean, people are saying Atiku also failed to play the political game plan very well by, bringing Obi close to his side. Are we working towards such a game plan, in 2027 to see an Atiku Obi ticket or something like that in the offing? Well, I mean, did you have opportunity to discuss that? I mean,
I'm not in the
during
position,
your political consultations.
You said consultation. Discussions are going on, about, who wants to be president. So far as we speak, Atiku did not say he wants to be president. Peter Obi has not said he wants to be president. All the other, people, they're just all these are in the realm of speculation. But discussions are going on. Atiku and Peter Obi ran in 2019. So if tomorrow they come up and team up together, it's nothing new or strange, actually, But of course, the discussions will throw up what ticket.
Do you think Tinubu is beatable? An incumbent president, Tinubu, do you think he's beatable?
No, if you say Tinubu is beatable, you are really, Tinubu has beaten himself.
Oh, interesting. I mean,
yeah, Tinubu has already beaten himself.
Talk to us about
We're just waiting for 2027 to come so that we'll unveil a new president. Look at the economic policies. We have not even talked about the economic policies of this government. Today, all Nigerians are worse off for it.
The government says it has performed creditably, and it's been receiving endorsements from IMF, World Bank, and all of that.
Somewhere you work for Arise. I'm sure you have some kind of arrangement with Arise, whether by way of salary or emoluments or whatever. Somewhere you go to the market, or your wife goes to the market. Somewhere I'm sure you have a car, and you take fuel because I don't think you walk from your house to this place, or either you enter a public transport to come here. Talking about fuel subsidy. After removing fuel subsidy, what were we promised? We were promised that some programs would be put in place to ensure that the shock, and the impact of the fuel subsidy would not be felt by the ordinary Nigerians. What has happened? Nothing has happened. Well, we heard about CNGs. I'm from Borno State. In fact, forget about Borno. I live in Abuja. How many CNG public mass transit buses do we have in Abuja? You know what I'm saying? Do we have any in Maiduguri? Do we have in Enugu? Do we have in Akwa Ibom? Do you understand what I'm saying? So, you see, they have said a lot, but they have shot in performance. They have not been able to do anything.
Are you saying that the endorsements that they've been getting from the IMF, World Bank, and all of that?
I did not read any endorsement. What I read about World Bank was that, the people are suffering, and that the government needed to tweak its policies to ensure that the suffering of the masses.
Well, they said since 2014, we've not had any economic growth like this. I mean, that's what they said.
Well,
that the economy has grown more.
If your economy as a person has grown, you tell me.
Right.
But I can tell you that we have not experienced any growth. they can sit down in budget office or finance ministry and roll out figures as they wish. But the fact of the matter is Nigerians know what they're feeling. You know, you cannot lie to them because they know. And when 2027 comes, people will decide based on their own personal assessment, not what I tell them or what the government tells them, based on their own personal assessment to decide whether this government deserves to be returned back to office, or it's a government that needs to be kicked out. And I want to assure you that they have already finished the campaign for the coalition. And by 2027, this government, you know, will be kicked out of office. And we're going to have a brand new government that will be more sympathetic, more realistic, a government that has plans. What is the plan of this government? What is the economic development plan?
Well, they said they are putting more food on the table of Nigerians in terms of
so
agriculture.
Tell me what,
food prices are going down very quickly.
The agri minister is not here, although he's my brother.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having him pretty soon.
Yes, I will watch your program, but the truth of the matter is, has the price of rice come down in the market? Has the price of beans come down in the market? Well, has the price of yam come down in the market? Whatever policy you implement, it is about affecting, if you like, the price of food in the market. And that has not happened. The price of food has been, skyrocketing since this administration came into office.
I mean, some of the prices have been going down actually, based on surveys and all of that.
From where they met it,
complaining that it's out of reach to average Nigerians.
Has it gone down to where they met it?
All right.
It hasn't. Prices have gone through the roof. And so if there is a marginal decrease, maybe from when they came, I think rice was about 50,000 naira. Now bag of rice is 100,000 naira. Maybe rice has come to about 95,000 naira. Is it because of this 5,000 marginal difference? When you have increased it to 50,000, then you reduce 5,000, and you tell me that there is some gain. Nigerians are no fools.
All right. We must thank you so much, Honorable Mohammed Kumali, as a former minority leader of the House of Representatives, a PPP specialist, and of course a lawyer. We must thank you so much for immense wealth of knowledge, and we wish you all well. I mean, as you try to build a coalition, but the APC says everybody's going to the APC, as though they don't see so many people going to the opposition. Well, we all await the candidate that you will be bringing.
There isn't much time for this discussion, but I can tell you about this. I can tell you about these people that are going into the APC.
Yeah, we must thank you so much.
But we'll see in 2027.
All right.
Whether they are joining the APC,
all right,
was with the consent of the people, or whether they were on their own. And I want to assure you that they are on their own, and they will see it come 2027.
All right, interesting part.
Because why not? Is it the hardship of the North? Is it how insecure the North is? How North do not have good roads, don't have any quality development in the North? Tell me why they will not want Tinubu removed. Because all their plans was, when they put Tinubu in office, Tinubu will help them renovate North, make North a hot place, a place for investment. But guess what? After Tinubu entered office, this is 2 years in office, nothing to show that Tinubu did in the North. So now, northern leaders, northern elders, everybody that was talking about tribalism, how they will vote for their brother and not for an Igbo man, have turned their back on Tinubu, that they will remove him from office. It's very simple. Because there is no result. Nothing has been done. No impact in the North from Tinubu government, from APC. So they want to change party, change candidate, change everything. So I believe what that video. Let me get your thoughts on that in the comment section, guys. I believe you guys in my next video.